York, and Kelsey Plum blows the lid off the joint, letting us all in on a small secret. Team Clark, they had no idea what was awaiting them walking into that locker room come WNBA.
Kelsey Plum seriously crossed a line, and Sabrina Ionescu wasn't about to let it slide. What was meant to be a unifying moment for WNBA stars during the All-Star game ended up becoming one of the most uncomfortable press conference moments to date. Plum unexpectedly took a jab at Caitlin Clark, right next to one of Clark's most vocal supporters. The boldness of it all was truly shocking.
For a moment, we didn't, at least as players, we didn't know that was going to happen. So I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise, but the t-shirt, just united front was determined this morning, that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very proud.
The 2025 WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis was expected to be Caitlin Clark's big moment on home turf. Instead, a groin injury kept her off the court, forcing her to watch from the sidelines as the spotlight moved on without her. But that disappointment was only the beginning. The real controversy erupted post-game when Kelsey Plum made an uncalled-for remark aimed at Team Clark.
Kelsey Plum was at the All-Star game in Indianapolis. She made quite a scene, bruh. This time, at the conclusion of the game, I was one of the first people to break the story about her actually making comments about Caitlin Clark's team not being at this meeting for the CBA negotiations. Now, we know the WNBA All-Stars came out with these t-shirts, "Pay us what you..."
Just moments after WNBA players made a bold statement with their "Pay us what you owe us" shirts, highlighting the fight for fair compensation and collective bargaining, what should have been a show of unity took a sharp turn. Instead of reinforcing solidarity, Kelsey Plum shifted the spotlight to unnecessary drama, revealing the tension that still lingers between some veteran players and the league's most high-profile newcomer.
Agumike, Women's National Basketball Players Association president. Brianna Stewart, vice president. And Nafisa Collier. All on opposing teams from Team Clark. How does it work out that the 3 biggest players in the Players Association had an idea about wearing a "Pay Us What You Owe Us" t-shirt, make this decision last minute that this is what the players will do? Team Clark somehow isn't present in the
At the post-game press conference, Plum began recounting the morning meeting where players came together and agreed to wear the unity shirts. But then she veered way off course with a pointed comment. Not to call anyone out, but not a single player from Team Clark really showed up for that. The atmosphere instantly shifted. The silence that followed was deafening. You could sense the discomfort even if you were just watching from home.
I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise, but the t-shirt, just united front was determined this morning, that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. But no, we were just, we had a very, that really needed to be mentioned. I'm trying to make a situation.
What made the moment even more shocking was that Sabrina Ionescu, one of Team Clark's key players, was sitting just inches away. The blatant disrespect was impossible to ignore. Ionescu's reaction said it all. She shot Plum a look of utter disbelief, rolled her eyes, and fired back with a heavy dose of sarcasm. "Oh yeah, that definitely needed to be pointed out," she quipped, clearly unimpressed.
These WNBA players, they get more unlikable every day. And the blatant jealousy, the blatant hatred towards Caitlin Clark is, it's obvious. They don't even try to hide it. We got Kelsey Plum talking about these pathetic shirts that they wore out onto the court. And I'm going to tell you, these players all put these shirts on. And like I said in a couple of previous videos, that backfired.
If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. Now back to the drama, because the tension in that room was real. Ionescu's face said it all. This wasn't just awkward, it was totally out of line. Here we had a veteran player throwing shade at others who weren't even there to respond, all while supposedly standing for unity. The irony couldn't be more obvious. And if you're wondering why Plum's comments were so off base, let's break it down with some cold, hard facts. When news broke that Caitlin Clark would miss the All-Star game due to injury, ticket prices took a nosedive. We're not talking minor changes. This was a full-on crash. Prices dropped a staggering 48% in under 24 hours, from $121 to just $64 for the lowest tier seats. That's not a small shift in the market. That's a clear sign of just how much one player moves the needle.
Going on. Caitlin Clark, she was officially ruled out before all of these things. And look at the news that dropped. This is wild. WNBA All-Star Weekend. It's supposed to be the star of all stars. All the big dogs is out. Asia Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, everybody's out. The big dogs are out. You got the Rook, you got Angel Reese, Miss Me Too. All of the stars are here. And look at this news. The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48% from $121 to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be.
Let that sink in for a moment. The price to simply get in the door for the WNBA All-Star Game, hosted in the hometown of the league's biggest star, plummeted by nearly 50% as soon as Caitlin Clark was ruled out. Some resale tickets dropped to as low as $60, with fans scrambling to offload them just to recoup whatever they could. And believe it or not, it doesn't stop there. The TV ratings paint an even clearer picture. When Clark isn't on the court, national WNBA broadcasts suffer massive declines. Viewership drops by a jaw-dropping 55%. Even her own team's games without her see a 53% dip, falling from an average of 1.81 million viewers to just 847,000. That's not a slight fluctuation. That's a tidal wave. And it makes one thing undeniably clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rising star. Right now, she is the WNBA.
Well, would you look at that? Prices for the WNBA All-Star Game have plummeted 49% after Caitlin Clark was ruled out due to injury, per TickPick. I can't say that I'm surprised by this at all. I mean, no matter how much you love her or hate her, Caitlin Clark is the face of the WNBA. When she goes, the ratings go. Simply put.
On the flip side, when Caitlin Clark is on the floor, the numbers speak for themselves. Her return game against the Liberty brought in a massive 2.2 million viewers on ABC, with a peak audience of 2.8 million. Games featuring Clark routinely break viewership records, becoming the highest-rated broadcasts in WNBA history. She's not just a star, she's a revenue engine, generating unprecedented attention and money for the entire league. This is where Sabrina Ionescu truly proved why she's so respected in the basketball community. Rather than ignoring Plum's out-of-pocket comment, she delivered a perfectly timed, sarcastic response that subtly called it out. But her support for Clark goes beyond just that moment. When Clark was sidelined with a quad injury, Ionescu stepped up behind the scenes, offering guidance based on her own experience with similar setbacks. While Plum was stirring up drama at a press conference, Ionescu was focused on growing the game, lifting others up, not tearing them down. She gets it. Clark's rise doesn't just benefit the Indiana Fever, it raises the bar for the entire WNBA.
Last and latest being this viral Kelsey Plum dig, if you will. And I was in the room for this. It did strike me as very odd in the moment when she said what she said. I wrote it off as kind of awkward, but let me play it for you again, and then I'll respond after the fact. This is what Kelsey Plum said about the t-shirts, and you can, Sabrina Ionescu's reaction.
But don't think Caitlin Clark just sat back and let the shade slide. Not even close. She delivered the perfect clapback, quiet, sharp, and brilliantly calculated. When Kelsey Plum posted a series of photos from All-Star Weekend on Instagram, including one in front of a massive Nike logo, despite being signed with Under Armour, Clark chimed in with just 6 words, "Thanks for the free Nike promo." It was a masterclass in subtlety, playful on the surface, but razor-sharp underneath. The irony? Plum had been publicly criticizing Clark while unintentionally plugging Clark's own sponsor. That level of awareness and poise shows exactly why Clark is playing chess while others are stuck on checkers, and this moment isn't a one-off. There's a clear, troubling pattern of WNBA players trying to downplay or discredit what Clark brings to the league. Despite being a rising force who's generating record-breaking viewership, selling out arenas, and moving more merch than anyone else, she continues to face snide remarks and unwarranted criticism from players who are, ironically, reaping the rewards of her success. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Clark is the engine behind the WNBA's current momentum. Her presence is driving TV deals, packing stadiums, and injecting the league with fresh commercial power. Yet some of the very players calling for better pay are publicly undermining the one athlete most responsible for making those pay raises even remotely possible. The hypocrisy is hard to ignore.
To me, I thought that was a little dig at Caitlin. A lot of people definitely thought so. Now, we know Caitlin Clark is a Nike athlete. She's with Nike. And guess who had to pull up to the Nike party? None other than Sabrina Ionescu. None other than Kelsey Plum. My bad, y'all. None other than Kelsey Plum, bruh. Caitlin Clark commented on her picture. Thank you for the Nike ad. What?
Let's be blunt about the business side of things. Before Caitlin Clark's arrival, the WNBA was struggling to find its footing financially. The league hadn't turned a profit, attendance was average at best, and national spotlight was limited. Then Clark came onto the scene, and everything shifted dramatically. Her college games at Iowa shattered viewership records. Most notably, the 2024 championship game drew an astonishing 18.9 million viewers, rivaling major men's sports events. Once she was drafted by Indiana, the Fever went from a niche interest to must-watch TV. Season ticket sales soared, merchandise sales shot through the roof, and the entire league felt the ripple effect of her impact. But instead of celebrating the surge, some players seem to harbor resentment. They want to enjoy the perks that come with Clark's stardom without acknowledging the role she's played in creating them. It's like complaining about the golden goose, while still expecting more golden eggs.
Your league lost money last year. It's lost money for what, 28 years now? 27 years? 26 years? However long, it ain't never turned a profit. Again, they're about to make more money. They are. The media rights deal, which is where all the money is about to push salaries higher. All right? I think what a lot of people really are sick of is they're sick of the activism part of it, which is what the other night was. Let's go out and show solidarity in protest kind of crap. And sports fans are like, oh, I'm here for the freaking All-Star game, if you want to call.
Sabrina Ionescu gets something that Kelsey Plum seems to miss. Success isn't a zero-sum game. Caitlin Clark's rising popularity doesn't take away from other players. It lifts the entire league. As the WNBA gains more mainstream attention, Ionescu's own profile has grown, with better sponsorships, more media coverage, and higher viewership numbers. That's why she consistently supports Clark, both in public and behind the scenes. Ionescu knows that having multiple stars benefits everyone far more than having none. Her sharp response to Plum's comments wasn't just about standing up for Clark. It was about protecting what's best for the whole league. This incident sheds light on a bigger problem in the WNBA. When the league's biggest star, who brings in fans and revenue, is met with disrespect from fellow players, it creates a toxic atmosphere that hurts everyone involved. Imagine if NBA players disrespected LeBron or Curry at the peak of their careers. It would be seen as unprofessional and bad for business. Yet, somehow, it's become common to belittle Caitlin Clark's impact in the WNBA.
So it was definitely awkward what Kelsey Plum said. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, and that she was attempting to have some trash talk there. She had taken a shot at Team Caitlin Clark and how much better Team Collier was earlier in the game, and not associate that directly with Caitlin Clark. One, because of the delivery and the awkwardness involved there, and her saying she's trying to lighten the mood. So I think that's what that was supposed to be, but it was completely unnecessary. Didn't need to be said, and certainly, putting it out there publicly doesn't.
Sabrina Ionescu's defense of Caitlin Clark is about much more than just one player standing up for another. It speaks to the kind of league the WNBA aspires to be. Is it a place where stars are celebrated and supported, or one where jealousy and petty rivalries distract from the game? The answer should be clear. For a league still working to gain mainstream attention and financial footing, pushing away your biggest attraction is nothing short of professional suicide. Clark's influence reaches far beyond the court. She's a cultural force who has drawn new fans into women's sports. Players like Ionescu understand this deeply. They invest in relationships, offer genuine support, and know that a rising tide lifts all boats. Their focus remains on basketball excellence, not needless drama. Kelsey Plum's comments were what coaches call an unforced error, an avoidable misstep that served no purpose other than stirring controversy. There was absolutely no need to single out Team Clark's meeting attendance. It didn't strengthen her message about unity. It only caused unnecessary conflict. What makes this even more disappointing is the timing.
For the people who don't believe in the CC effect, my precious CC, y'all ticket sales went from $262 to $121 to $64 to get in at the door. That is horrible. It decreased by 48%. You hear me? That is wild. So for all the ones who be hating on my precious CC, understand the Caitlin Clark effect is real. The CC effect is real. My precious CC is real. You hear me? Y'all need to put some respect on her name. That's wild, huh? We only wanted to see my precious CC, not nobody else. As the temptation.
What truly sets champions apart isn't just raw talent. It's mindset. True champions celebrate greatness wherever they see it. They recognize that strong competition pushes everyone to improve. Instead of tearing others down, they concentrate on refining their own game. Sabrina Ionescu has demonstrated that champion mindset throughout this entire situation. She's consistently supported Clark's growth, acknowledged her contributions, and stood up when lines were crossed. That's what leadership looks like. Caitlin Clark herself has shown impressive maturity amid ongoing criticism and disrespect. Rather than getting drawn into public disputes, she's focused on letting her performance speak for itself, maintaining a high level of professionalism. The best organizations find ways to balance both, championing their stars while fostering a positive culture that benefits everyone. The WNBA now stands at a pivotal crossroads, with unprecedented attention and growth ahead. How it handles internal conflicts will shape its future. Ionescu's leadership, shown through her immediate defense and ongoing support of Clark, offers a hopeful model for resolving tensions professionally, setting a strong example for other veterans to follow.
Be sure Kelsey Plum did reply to this. No, she didn't. Kelsey Plum did not reply. So CC definitely fired back, man. So, a lot of posts is coming from this weekend. This is another post. So here you go, Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Plum. So Kelsey Plum let it be known she's with Under Armour. Thank you to my Under Armour team for making Plumberry come to life. That is funny, bro. That is funny.
At the end of the day, Kelsey Plum's remarks were an unforced mistake that stirred up needless drama during what should have been a celebratory moment for the league. Sabrina Ionescu's comeback was spot on, firm enough to make a point, yet professional enough to preserve respect. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to face challenges with poise, dominating on the court whenever she's healthy. Ionescu gets it. Clark lives it. Now it's time for everyone else to either get on board or get left behind. Whether some players like it or not, the Caitlin Clark era is here, and it's not going anywhere. Smart players will learn to embrace her influence rather than resist it. Clark doesn't need to defend herself. She has steadfast allies like Sabrina Ionescu to handle the petty distractions, while she focuses on what truly matters, winning games and elevating the sport for all of us. And that's exactly how true championship cultures are built.